All right, guys, there's a bunch of stuff. I'm going to jump around a little bit. The gentleman who tried to assassinate President Trump the second time, this is number 19, would-be assassin Ryan Routh, was convicted today on all counts. I'm not sure how big a sentence he could get. And when the convictions were announced, he tried to stab himself with a pen. I continue to be stunned that we don't know about the motives of either of the shooters, either of the people who tried to assassinate President Trump. I'm just amazed that the Trump administration hasn't gotten to the bottom of it or told us much about it. Here's President Trump talking about the conviction on number 18, please.
Appreciative of the justice that was given and the way it was handled by Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche and everybody that it's been, and their team of people. It was really well handled, and it's very important. You can't let things like that happen. Nothing to do with me, but a president or even a person. You can't allow that to happen. And so justice was served, and we'll see what happens. But I very much appreciate the judge and jury and everybody on that. It was so professionally handled, and it's a great honor.
Now, I want to hear from both of you on Charlie Kirk and on the weekend's developments and where we are now as we wait to find out what Jimmy Kimmel says. But one of the things that I think some people on the left don't appreciate is that part of, I don't know if it's a lot, but part of the anger and concern of people on the right and MAGA about Charlie Kirk's assassination is that they tried to kill President Trump, the leader of the MAGA movement, twice. And there's a lot of emotion about that. But of course, he was not killed. Charlie was killed. And the president also, despite the fact that people were able to shoot at him in one case and be near him with a gun at the other, he has a lot of protection. And what you'll find, and Kristin, I'm sure you have friends like this, and Ian, you might too, a lot of people are worried about going out in public now. If they have any public profile whatsoever, and their families are very worried. I've had 2 events canceled because people involved said that their families just didn't want them to be at events. Here is Ben Ferguson, conservative commentator, podcast host, good friend with Kristin's friend, Ted Cruz. They co-host a podcast together. Ben and Megan McCain are my guests on Next Up. You can watch that on YouTube now, listen to it. We recorded it earlier today. Here's Ben talking about how he is dealing with the aftermath of the assassination of his very close friend, Charlie Kirk. Number 22, please.
One of the most morbid days of my life the other day. I got fit for a bulletproof vest so I can wear it underneath my suit when I'm doing public events. I was at my son's flag football game 2 weeks ago, and a guy walked up and just started cussing me out, dog cussing me, give me the middle finger. I'm holding my child's hand. And I had to look at my son and say, go on to the field, buddy. And I looked at him and I was like, man, I don't know you. I'm sorry you feel this way. I hope you enjoy your Saturday. You try to de-escalate that.
Ben Ferguson's one of the most genial people I know. And to hear him say those 2 things is just heartbreaking for me. Kristin, how much are people in your party concerned about all this, and how are people adjusting to the reality that if you're on the national town square now and you don't have security, Charlie had security, most people can't afford it. How is that affecting your world?
There's definitely, there are a number of different security options that people take for these big events, whereas, a month ago you could have had an open event in a field. I think people are rethinking their venues, they're rethinking what type of security to have. But I will say there's a louder group, a louder part of the party that has more resolve to get back out there. So that's encouraging to see that people aren't, while we do have to take different security measures now and rethink venues and, when they get out of the car, the principal has to get, what's the pathway for them to get to the stage? I mean, things that you would normally think about before, probably get 1 or 2 more phone conference calls with the team. But overall, I think there's a firm resolution to continue to be out in the open space, to continue the dialogue, to continue the discussion. So that's encouraging. But, overall, I think there's which on both, I would hope in both parties, teams are just thinking through the extra step of security and venues and, vetting people when they come to an event and things like that.
Ian, I always have some incentives to lose weight. I would hate for an incentive to be that I need to fit into my bulletproof vest. That would be
Yeah.
perverse. But how do you think this is affecting folks, again, who who have podcasts or they're commentators or even just a visible social media presence?
Man, it's sad all around, and it's not only affecting folks who are, it's mostly affecting folks who have like this big public presence. But I think a lot of normal people now are concerned that this type of violence is becoming more normal. And it's, to Christian's point, it's not just at public speaking engagements, but people are also, if you're a public elected official, at risk in your own home at this point. And we're kind of, the fundamentals of somebody like you, Kristen, and I being able to talk and just hash out our differences or find our similarities is kind of breaking down in a scary way. My best friend is actually a PG County police officer, and right after Charlie died, and a staunch Trump supporter, but that's my guy. We've been together since high school. He and I actually talked about, like, man, what does this mean? How do you secure yourself, et cetera? And it's just kind of sad. I really don't know if there's a solution here, but the safe dialogue is good dialogue, and I think that kind of resolve, Christian, is good to hear about folks wanting to get back out there and hash this out with ideas.
Beautifully said. This episode brought to you by Cozy Earth. Cozy Earth makes incredible sheets, bedding, shirts, and the pants, which you hear me talk about all the time. And we'd like you to be able to experience the comfort and joy of Cozy Earth products. The bedding comes with a 100-day money-back guarantee, 10-year warranty, but you won't need those. You'll want to keep it. Go to CozyEarth.com right now. Use the promo code TWOWAY. Save 40% off. 40% off the entire site. Couldn't be more comfortable. And as you heard me say before, you can wear the pants anywhere. I have another dinner tonight out. I wouldn't say it's super fancy, but it's a little fancy, and I'll be wearing the pants. And people just either not notice them or notice them and say how nice they look. Cozy Earth products are viscose made from bamboo. They're very breathable, very comfortable, but again, they look great, very soft. Go to CozyEarth.com right now. Use the code TWOWAY, 40% off the best pants, shirts, everything. And do a post-purchase survey. Tell them you heard about Cozy Earth right here. That'll help us out. So please do that. Built for real life, made to keep up with yours, Cozy Earth. Thank you for your attention to that matter.
They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the Two-Way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America.
And don't forget, you can now listen to the morning meeting and Two-Way tonight on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.